As you can see, this is the Prius that I worked on my last how-to fixing video, and we worked on the front bumper. Now we're working on the rear bumper cover. The front bumper was dented as a result of my father backing into this car. This has some issues that are being patched up by a little bit of tape as a result of my mother backing into various objects.
Okay, so probably about 2 months ago I replaced the bumper cover retainer on the other side of the car. Today we're going to replace the one that goes on this side of the car. It goes underneath here. You can see it's shaped like that cover, and it holds this cover on right now. As you can see, there's tape holding it on, which I advised against doing, but looks like the adhesive isn't that bad. I was worried about adhesive being stuck on here. There's a little bit. But these retainers, I guess they have little clips on them. Here, 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 and here. Like 3, 4, 5 clips that attach to this edge. And I guess if you back into things, those little clips break, and then it goes like this, as you can see. So my wife didn't want this to affect her fuel efficiency, so she taped it in place. And when we take this piece off, I'll show you how 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 clips of these little clips, 4 of them are broken off. I think from doing this last time, it's a lot easier if we jack this up so that you can get underneath, because there are screws. If you pull this too far away without undoing some of the screws that hold this in other places, it's possible that you might rip it, maybe, or maybe damage the paint on it. I'm not quite sure. But a friend of mine who owns an auto body shop had advised that I undo those screws before I do this the last time. So it's a lot easier if you jack it up. So we have a jack. We've got 2 jack stands over there and a piece of plywood, because if you jack the car up on asphalt, it's possible to dent the asphalt. One thing I noticed is that there's a retaining screw that goes here. It's gone. Probably came out. You see the hole? It probably came out when my wife hit the whatever it was she hit. And that retaining screw would screw into this spot here. So we'll have to find one of those screws at some point in time, but we don't have one now. So we'll put everything back in and leave that for a later date. So I guess what we'll do right now is we'll jack up the car. There's a spot, like on most cars, there's a spot underneath here in front of the wheel where the body makes this little ridge. It's relatively strong. This may not be that good of a place to do this. Not that good of a place to do this. I bent the metal, but it's okay. So yeah, you gotta find a good place to jack this up without damaging things. There is a metal bar that runs between the wheels. That's kind of far back. That looks much sturdier. Alright. So now, we'll see if we can jack this up. No, that's not going to work. Okay, I got to rotate the whole thing out. Slowly. Let us go. And that is supporting the weight of the car. Yeah, this wasn't. You can see it's bent. The metal's bent there. On all my other cars, that's never been a problem. Make sure we're not bending this bar. We're not. Okay. Oh. My goodness, it's really hot out here. Alright, so normally we would put a jack stand under that for safety. Let's see if we can fit one under here. Oh, actually, yeah, the jack's not in really a good spot. From this angle, it's in a really precarious spot. If it falls, it'll only fall that much.
Okay.
But this is half on and half off, and that's really not good. That's not the best place to do that. Edit most of that out. Alright, so with that jack stand in place, we'll have more space to safely remove these retaining screws that are keeping parts of the bumper on. This bumper is already very loose because I guess in these different impacts there's a, here we can show this one. These have pulled out of the car, so we're going to reposition them on the bumper cover. These tabs are torn and we won't be able to fix that today. That's going to be an expensive part, I think. Is this a segment? Maybe it's only this piece here, so we'll price that out, replacing this piece, and then we can get that and whatever retaining screws we find are missing through this whole adventure, and then we'll have a much nicer looking car because this piece right here doesn't stay in place. But again, replacing those will help. So we're going to take this one off, okay, because that'll allow us to get this a bit further back to the Phillips head screw. I'm not going to use power tools on this because I'd be a little bit concerned about stripping the plastic. A lot of these things, a lot of these fasteners, plastic is involved somewhere. The screws are going into plastic for the most part. So there's the screw. We'll just keep these pieces together. You can see the green part there, that's plastic, so when you put it back in, you don't want to use, in my opinion, don't want to use a power tool because you're going to end up probably stripping that out. Okay, and boom, falls away, right? So this is the piece that we're really replacing today. There's only 2 screws that are holding it in place. There are some other pieces as well. If we look at what's going back in there, you'll see the 2 screws here go into these clip pieces. These also have little clips here and here, but they just push in. There's no screw holding them in, so they'll click into place once we put the new piece in. And these screws, again, I would do by hand. They're going into plastic. You don't want to strip things out when you put them back in. My advice would be go slow. Don't use power. Alright, this piece now, we've got clips here, and I think it was here and here. They're holding it in place, but if you pull it, it should just pop out. As you can see, that's what it's doing, except for this middle one right here. I do have a flat blade screwdriver to help get this out. As you can see, that clip's got a little, that piece has got a clip on the top and on the bottom. I think if we can, getting underneath there, I'm just imagining this would be on the car. You might be able to push it up. You can see there's a little piece under there. It looks like it's designed for this. So we're going to try and, right here, we're going to try and push this up and see if we can get that to release, and then it should just come right out, hopefully. Easier said than done, but okay. Well, that didn't want to let go. Alright, so again, here are the, let's compare the old piece to the new piece. You can see these are the clips that keep that cover on. Broken, broken, broken. Still there, broken. So 4 out of 5 are broken. So once we get this new piece in, it'll have a much better chance of holding this cover on. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little pieces there. The one that didn't break is where this broke. Alright, so basically there was nothing holding this onto the old retainer. The new one will have 4 of the 5 still holding it in place. So this really is pretty simple. This pushes in place Make sure it's seated. Those two screws are going to go back in here. And then we're going to see what we can do about attaching that piece on the bottom. Right, so let's put the screws back in. Again, if you do it by hand, you're much less likely to strip out the plastic that these are screwing into. Just do it till it's hand tight. Again, you want to go in nice and perpendicular to the plane. You don't want to put it in at an angle, is what I am saying. Again, hand tight. If you have a hex driver that's that size, which I do in another set, that would probably be a little bit easier to use, but that's really what holds it in there, is those screws, those clips. Those screws are doing much more of the work. Now, attaching this, if you recall, there was a screw that we took out from the underneath the trunk. So we're going to put that one back in, and then we'll pop these other pieces. We'll pop these 4 clips in, since the fifth one isn't doing a darn thing at this point. Again, we're going to position it in place, and that little green retainer is what... Thanks, yes. Now Millen's holding it. You can see it's somewhat dirty work. It's not difficult, it'd be easier with 2 people, obviously, like a lot of things in life. Let's make sure this is... Probably should have done this first. Okay, I'm just pulling the seal out. It really does go underneath the seal. Now we can tighten this up. But let's put the clips on over here first. So each of these 4, 5 pieces is supposed to go on a clip. This one is broken. I guess that's why the clip didn't break. Oh, by the way, this piece, including shipping, was less than $25. Don't know how much this piece is, but obviously if you had these 5 things break here, it wouldn't stay on here. So my guess is this piece is a lot more than 25 bucks. When we look up the cost of this piece under here, which should be replaced, we'll also look up the cost of this, so that we can pass that information along to you. These just... That one didn't go. Actually, it looks like I messed up. Well, apparently this is a little bit more difficult than I thought. That clip didn't go, and I can see actually that piece is deformed there.
Like...
it went underneath. Yeah, it went underneath. That's what happened. It went underneath the clip. So it should have gone on top of the clip.
No, it went underneath again.
And it went underneath again. Well, we may end up having to buy this piece anyway. And it's still under. And how many seconds are left?
I don't know.
Alright. That piece is wrong. That piece was jacked up. Now it's on top. Okay. Apparently when you put these in, you got to be really careful that you get everything lined up. Okay. Now that, with this retaining screw, which we have to buy, will hold it in place much better than it was. So, first one went in a lot easier than this one, but I can tell you where I screwed up here was not having those the pieces of the bumper cover above all those clips. We messed up on one, I pulled it out to fix it, and then messed up on another one. So it's $25, less than $25 part for that. What, 15 minutes or less of time. Like I said, we'll find out what this costs, because it should be replaced. We'll find out what this costs to figure out how much we saved.
Now after all that work is finished, you're gonna let the car down.
And that little screw will release the pressure and lower the car. Of course, we took the jack stand out first. Just take that back up. It is slightly dirty work. And we'll get the price of those two pieces.
Will be in the description.
Yep.
Down there.
Unless Mill wants to tell you about it.
No.
Okay.
I don't really.
Alright. That's it. Clean up time.
Yay, clean up.
Thanks for watching another installment fixing my mom's Prius.
Yeah. So, until next time.
So she bumps into something else.
Yeah.
And I don't crash into it.
Until there's another dent or problem in this car, goodbye, and fix your own.